Refuse to lose means equating a loss to a personal flaw. It means blaming an individual for not trying hard enough, even though there are many factors involved with success. It's true that success means trying your hardest, but also success means being at the right place at the right time, having a network of people who can help you along the way, and even having a stable personal life. So this extreme mantra of refuse to lose, it proves to have negative consequences for the family. The biggest winner by far is Richard Hoover. He's dedicated his life to his 9-step success plan and is the biggest proponent of refuse to lose. The problem with Richard isn't that he wants to win, it's really his disgust of losers. Let's look at probably the biggest example of this, which takes place when the family is having dinner. He completely shames Frank because he attempted suicide. He says, "The important thing to understand here is that Uncle Frank gave up on himself. He made a series of foolish choices, I'm sorry, and he gave up on himself, which is something winners never do." This is a great example of how the mindset of refuse to lose has made Richard become heartless. Understandably, Richard responds by telling Dwayne how obnoxious Richard is. He says, "Is he always like this?" The next biggest scene of Richard's disgust of losers is with the ice cream scene. Here, Richard tells Olive that she shouldn't eat ice cream or else she'll get fat. Thankfully, the scene ends with Olive eating the ice cream, but this only comes thanks to her family practically begging her to do so. The real significance of this ice cream scene comes towards the end of the movie when Olive meets Miss California. She asks Miss California if she eats ice cream, and she's pleasantly surprised to find out that Miss California does in fact eat ice cream. Olive enthusiastically responds with, "She eats ice cream." This shows how worried Olive, a 7-year-old, has become about her weight and how impactful her father is on her. This is speculation, but it seems as though Richard was in the process of giving his daughter an eating disorder, again at the age of 7. Richard's use of winning is also used as a defense mechanism. On their trip, Frank makes a sarcastic remark to Richard, and Richard responds with, "Sarcasm is losers trying to bring winners down to their level." This may not seem like much, but really Frank is using sarcasm to make an accurate critique of Richard. That is, Richard is completely full of himself and not able to help his family. This could be a healthy conversation for Richard to have, but he completely dismisses everything as Frank just being a loser. Now let's look at some irony with Richard. The movie practically opens with a huge twist of irony against Richard. We see him giving a speech to only a few people. Normally this wouldn't be a bad thing. I mean, you do have to start somewhere, but with a character as obnoxious as Richard, this scene definitely plays as irony. Also throughout the movie, Richard is seen trying to close a deal with Stan Grossman, his business partner. Then towards the end of the movie, we meet Stan Grossman, who tells Richard face to face that he's lost the deal. He says, "It's time to move on, you're not gonna win this one." The irony being, a winner being told how much he's lost. Richard spins the situation as if Stan Grossman has given up, but really Richard is just deflecting bad news. If Richard is such a winner, why does he have to wrestle with loss so consistently? The second winner is Dwayne. Dwayne is first seen exercising and marking off his calendar, something that he does every day. From this small scene alone, I can tell that Dwayne is a determined individual. But the confirmation that Dwayne is a winner like his father is when Cheryl says, he's joined the Air Force Academy to become a test pilot, and he's taken a vow of silence until he's reached that goal. Only someone who has accepted refuse to lose would think to take a vow of silence until a goal is accomplished. The next piece of confirmation is during his breakdown after learning about being colorblind. He screams, "Divorce, bankruptcy, suicide, you're all losers, you're all losers." Being a product of Richard, Dwayne has come to think that a loser is someone to be hated or disregarded. However, there are some redeeming qualities to Dwayne, mostly in the 2 conversations he has with Frank. In the first, he writes to Frank, "Please don't kill yourself tonight." This is probably the least someone could say to somebody who has just attempted suicide, but coming from Dwayne, this means a lot. In fact, it was more heartfelt than anything Richard has said to Frank. The next redeeming scene of Dwayne comes towards the end where he and Frank officially change into being more positive-minded people. but I will explain this scene later in the video. Frank is the biggest loser because of his attempted suicide, which definitely shows a rejection of Refuse to Lose. During the dinner scene, we learn that Frank was the #1 scholar in the US prior to his personal downfall. The real irony here is that Frank, the biggest loser, is really more successful than Richard, the biggest winner. Frank is just currently in a very low point in his life. The issue with Richard and Refuse to Lose is they claim success to be a personal decision, but Frank proves that success needs a stable personal life as well. Frank is not a quitter necessarily. He was hit with a series of terrible personal life situations and couldn't handle it. The second loser is the grandpa. Like Frank, the grandpa has given up on life. However, he chose heroin abuse as his escape. It took me a while to see the significance of the grandpa, but when I did, I was completely surprised. The grandpa is the saving grace for the family. We first see this with the growling scene, where he and Olive have one final rehearsal and he gives her this life lesson. He says, "A real loser is someone that is so afraid of not winning, they don't even try." This is a huge turning point for Olive because she learns life isn't about winning, it's really about trying and giving a damn about what you do. The second time he saves the family is when he has a heart-to-heart with Richard on the bus. He says, "You tried to do something on your own, which is more than most people can ever do, and I include myself in this category." You can tell Richard cares deeply that his father is proud of him, albeit only for that moment. I consider Olive to be a quasi-winner because she's still young, and therefore she's open to critiques of Refuse to Lose. She hasn't completely internalized any of Richard's worldviews like Dwayne, but she is starting to internalize things. The ice cream scene shows how she's going back and forth in terms of accepting the lessons of her father. As I mentioned earlier, Olive was likely on her way to an eating disorder because of Richard's disdain to being overweight. Also, during the growling scene, she cries, "Because my dad hates losers." Thankfully, the grandpa is there to show her a different view of winning and losing, one that makes her feel confident. Cheryl has accepted Refuse to Lose, but only to a certain degree. When she and Richard are having an argument outside the bus, she yells, "Did you even try negotiating?" This means she can reduce failure to simply not trying hard enough, just like Richard can. However, when Dwayne overhears her arguing with Richard, she says, "Oh, forget the 9 steps, Richard, it's over. I never want to hear about the 9 steps again." This line sums up how the losers, Frank and the grandpa, understand Richard. We also see a soft side to Cheryl in that she can recognize winning isn't everything. During the ice cream scene, she begs Olive to eat the ice cream. But a better example comes towards the end of the movie in the dressing room. She tells Dwayne and Richard, "You gotta let Olive be Olive." This line brings me back to Dwayne and Frank's last conversation together that I mentioned earlier in the video. In this last conversation, Frank and Dwayne talk about what I call the new Dwayne mindset. The new Dwayne mindset is, you do what you love and fuck the rest. This quote and Cheryl's quote about letting Olive be Olive both confirm a new paradigm for the family. That is, go with the flow. Now that the family is receptive to go with the flow, they're able to openly and shamelessly support Olive, and they do so by dancing with her on stage and even receive a consequence of Olive being banned from every pageant in California forever. This is a family who started with an extreme understanding of winning and losing, but ended with an understanding of go with the flow. Richard and Dwayne fell hard into the need to win. Frank and the grandpa completely rejected the need to win. And Olive and Cheryl were sort of on the fence about taking winning and losing to this extreme. The losers proved to have more heart than the winners, and the winners needed to learn to accept failure. So that's my analysis on Little Miss Sunshine. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for my next movie report on The Master. Thanks for watching.